Tettares. I saw your video on Oriental Orthodox dialogue, or maybe it's Oriental Orthodox and Eastern Orthodox dialogue. Remember, I didn't watch the video by Orthodox Lunatic, just your appendix or addendum. We have to remember that it was the Orientals that wanted schism that were accusing us of being Nestorians. That's why Chalcedon came about, to say, no, we're not Nestorians. We don't believe in Nestorianism. It was their accusation at us being Nestorians. And you said about these colleges and not any piece of writing. Some of their saints were Monophysites. Very clearly. I mean, Monophysites weren't an obscure thing. There was a Pope of Rome that was a Monophysite. I believe it was Honorius. Now, what's the difference between Miaphysite and Monophysite? Well, Miaphysite means one physis. It's hard to translate that nature, and Monophysite, one physis, one nature. Right? Now, the blending and the Eucharianism of the drop of humanity is, Christ's humanity is like a drop of vinegar in the ocean, where it's just basically drowned out. That was getting preached, right? Now, granted, the vast majority of people didn't believe that and were perfectly Orthodox, or I should say perfectly Catholic. And when the Muslims took over, or I should say the Saracens, with help of some of the Oriental Christians, after a few centuries, they were in total agreement with the Eastern Orthodox Church. It was just a matter of language. The rebellion was more a nationalistic fervor, and they can't tell us what to do up there in Byzantium, and kind of an anti-imperial thing, and almost a severely anti-Persian, because remember, the Nestorian Church was the only church allowed in Persia, and the Nestorians sided with the Persians, and the pro-Roman were the Monophysites. That was extremely pro-Roman, even though they're against the big city bishops and everything. But these people saw themselves as true Romans. The Gassanids, Egypt was a huge power base of Rome. Egyptians were like the most Roman of the Romans, you know. These are the people who were actually fighting against the Persians. I mean, the people in Gaul, Persia wasn't a threat to them, but if you were in the Gassanid kingdom, yeah, it was a real threat. But it was the Orientals that broke off. Heraclius, till his dying day, tried to mend the church, not split it. The reason that the Council of Chalcedon was called was to reassure those who had concerns. It wasn't just in the Oriental Orthodox Church. It was in the Orient. It was in Rome, in in Constantinople, in Antioch, places like that. Not just Alexandria and Jerusalem, but all over the world, even in Ireland. But I mean, the whole reason for that Council of Chalcedon was to say, all right, we're not going too far with Monophysitism, and also we're not Nestorians, because Nestorius was shot down at the Council of Ephesus. And they thought this was a betrayal, and because of Cyril's language. Well, Cyril of Alexandria, that was their guy. And remember, the Monophysites, or if you want to call them Miaphysites, the leaders who would take charge after the Muslims conquered Egypt, or the Saracens conquered Egypt, were people who had self-exiled themselves to the desert. They weren't living amongst the people at the time. There was about 18 of them. So we don't have anything to apologize for, right? I mean, I don't know if you're just in your response to the Orthodox Lunatic, but it almost seems like we broke away from them or we kicked them out. Nothing of the sort. They would have nothing to do with us because they suspected us of being Monophysites, or not of Nestorians. And some within the Chalcedonian sect, or our sect, suspected, and rightly so, some of them were Monophysites. I will concede that maybe there were some Nestorian hanging on, quasi-Nestorians among us who were pro-Chalcedonian, even though Chalcedon condemns Nestorianism. All right, peace to you. I just wanted to bring that up, and hopefully this video doesn't overshadow my nothing to do with video, atheism versus Islam.